He's stepped out of the wardrobe, stepped out of somewhere. Anyway, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you might be in the world. It's just us at the minute. I was rather thinking Louis would be along for this one because I want to talk about the Parrot AI. Should we talk about other things first before we get there, or should we just delve straight into that? What should we say, gentlemen?
Was there other things?
So Parrot has AI and McDonald has AIAIO.
Oh, yeah. Adding the words AI, I think already that's our first schoolboy error. But let's go. Let's put this up. Let's go. Let's just do this.
Why has it got a little I? What does the little I stand for? It's not AI. It's a little I.
A little I.
Why is it 4G? I thought everything had to be 5G now.
Well, I think I can answer that quite quickly. Well, from my point of view, there's no 5G. If you look at the 5G maps in South Africa, there's like a couple of shopping malls.
4G in the UK, that's for sure, because it's illegal. So
that's a 3D print gone very wrong.
Because the issue is in the UK, for starters, there's no license for any aerial 4 or 5G exists in Ofcom. So at the moment, they will not be able to sell this with the modems in the UK because it's not legal. At the moment, 4G and 5G are only certified for ground-based use officially, and the only people who have permission is special testing purposes at the moment.
So you can't take your phone on a plane?
You can, but it's not classed as sold as such. There's this technicality of a flying product versus a product designed to be used on the ground with limited use in the air.
Aeronautical mobile's always been a big problem.
All I got to do is put wheels on it, and they're good.
It's a funny design, isn't it? Let's be realistic. The whole thing.
I think it's a triumph of style over function, isn't it? That said, we got to make something different because these drones look all the same. Look at that new DJI FPV drone. Let's make something that really stands out. Make it look like a praying mantis. Make it look. Who cares if it doesn't fly as long as it looks cool?
Well, that's what it said at the top here, wasn't it? I was hoping that was going to be the headline. It starts with key features and it's a cool drone. Oh, a naturalistic remark is where we're starting. And I think that naturalistic remark is, look, no insect, bird, fish or mammal has developed a visual perception system of sensors, despite each species needing to detect obstacles or predators in all directions in order to survive. Hang on, let me look behind myself here now.
Hang on. How many birds have a over 180 degree visual field, and how many other creatures, lizards, have a field of about 270 degrees? I mean, this is lies. This is rubbish.
I wasn't going to go quite as far as that, but yeah, I mean, here chameleons are feared because people believe they can see into the future and look back into the past. Here's Louis. He's here. But where's he driving tonight? Let's just check with wherever Louis is driving before we go any further. Nowhere. He's not even talking.
Oh, don't worry. If you want me to.
He's in space. He's in space. Who are you flying with this week? Are you with Elon, or are you with Richard Branson, or are you with Mr. Bezos?
Neil Armstrong.
Neil Armstrong. Oh dear, you don't want to be with him.
The late Louis.
The late Louis. Quite so. So yeah, I thought that was an interesting comment about insects' perception. All of this has a wonderful Frenchness to it, doesn't it? A certain joie de vivre.
It's very French. There's no in between on that.
It's called Le Spin.
No.
Le Spin. Yeah,
Sorry, guys. I think it's a novel approach because if you look at the entire document, they did their math. They went and did their fluid dynamics calculations. They have their mathematical models of the drone. They did, but they got inspired by efficient nature solutions. So if it works, why do you have? If the wheel runs fine, why do you want to invent the square?
Yeah. No. I'll give you that. I'll grant that. Let's keep on going down though as we go.
Very much from the movies, isn't it? For years we've seen in movies them, technology replicating nature. We're beginning to actually see it happen now.
Well, it's a biomimicry thing, isn't it?
But you have to remember, sometimes we can do better than nature. How many birds have propellers?
Oh God! Oh God! Bruce. Yeah.
How many birds have killed human beings?
How efficient is that, Bruce? A propeller.
Well, obviously, it's more efficient than flappy wings, or we'd have airplanes with flappy wings. And the wheels.
Oh, I'm not sure we can say that, can we? Because surely we can't make flappy wings as well as Mother Nature.
Well, there's ornithopters everywhere.
It's interesting. It's a technical document, which is, they've provided more info than I've seen any other drone manufacturer ever provide, period.
Yeah.
There is an insane amount of info in this document, down to, open source levels of information in this document. We have less info on some open source autopilots. There is a huge amount of data in here on the hardware they've used, what they've done, why they've done it. They've got to be congratulated for that. I hope it works out for them, because it's a nice, interesting design. Some of the bits they've done is clever. The object avoidance sensors moving. It's a clever use. Why put multiples on there when you just rotate the ones you've got? It's a clever use of technology.
I disagree. Why cameras are really cheap? Why build something that moves and therefore anything that moves can wear and can fail? Why not just have mounted cameras at the back and then you've solved the problem and it's cheap? It's simple. Keep things simple. The other thing is, this looks like something that the engineering department gave to the marketing department, who then said, this isn't sexy or cool enough. Let's jazz it up. And they've done that.
Oh, God, Bruce. You're the old man in the shed that has an hacksaw to saw carbon plates. No, come on. Look, and when you say a camera is cheap, not a global shutter camera, Bruce. You know that.
It's a CCD camera, right?
A global shutter camera is not as cheap as as you're saying you are. You cannot go and buy on AliExpress for $5 or $3 a good sensor to use for object avoidance. It's not.
But these are monochrome. They're not expensive. They're monochrome cameras, CCD monochrome cameras. I mean, it's not really rocket science. I go buy those for $50 a pop.
I love Bruce. Things under the equator are so much cheaper than above the equator. Oh God.
Well, yeah, but you know why that is? That's because all your loose change falls down to our side of the planet, and we can just pick it up on the seashore. That's why
prices rise in a downward direction here.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly right. Exactly right.
There's an argument on both sides. At the end of the day, Bruce is right. Mechanical adds error, but then again, so does additional processing. Is this design based on a global supply shortage? Look, there's less cameras, there's less hardware needed to drive those cameras. Is this
I cannot comment on that, Ian, but I can tell you that this is a solution that has been carefully studied by them. So I know this solution for quite some time.
But surely it saves weight, and weight is the enemy anyway. So
it's a matter of efficiency. It's a matter of efficiency. If you have to process, look at what the best comparison we have is Skydio 2. Okay, you got the Tegra running inside. You have 6 or 8 cameras. I cannot remember. So you need quite a powerful computer running inside to be able to process all that, because all those 6 streams, I believe, have to be processed, and you have to build something. It's much cheaper computing-wise to process only the data for 2 and add to that the pose of the camera than to do the 6 cameras and add pose to all 6 cameras.
Well, let's
so you're saying they cheaped out. They just cheaped out. That's what they did.
No, I don't think so. Look at if you look at the components, and they even tell you the model numbers and everything. They haven't gone to the cheaper route, and there are some very interesting technical solutions, hardware wise, on that. But I believe we are not looking at the main point. The main point is the complete openness of the Air SDK that they provide. So
I think we've jumped far too far ahead from where I wanted to go into this document.
No.
I think I just wanted to come down this document in a manner.
Can we talk about the battery now?
The battery. Well, we'll talk about the battery with you. So it's cool.
It's
now,
brilliant.
It's a Marmite thing, isn't it? It's a Marmite thing, and it looks a bit like a basking shark, doesn't it? With this great big gap in the front. I don't know whether all that camera assembly folds away into there magically, or I don't quite know what happens. But it is very, very Marmite. You love it or hate it. I mean, look, I'm going to try and be super negative about it, but I think it's the most exciting thing I've seen in 5 years, really. It's full of newness.
Did your Pornhub subscription die?
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah. You won't let me in your OnlyFans anymore. So after that incident, go on,
what I do like is look at that wind resistance. For a machine that size and that weight, look at that wind resistance. That's more than the Mini 2, isn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah, but this is not a Mini 2.
No, it's not. But what I'm saying is, its wind resistance is more than a Mini 2. That's what I'm saying.
But define wind resistance. What does the term wind resistance mean?
Apples to apples. It's a different comparison.
It is. But they're both. It's only a couple. What is this? 355 grams.
900, isn't it?
Or is it 900?
I don't know. We'll have a look. We'll have a look in a minute.
We'll find out. But 32 minutes flight time's good as well. I like that.
Here's that word biomimicry again. And look, I think the biggest problem with it is no one's got one in hand. Yeah. And we haven't got a way of verifying the claims in this document because they haven't let someone else, someone like Louis who inspects windmills, someone like Ian who breaks USB stuff. They haven't put stuff in people's hands to sort of prove it to us. I worry that they've released it too early, i.e. they're not in the shop at the same time. I don't know.
I think the problem is, Gan, no one is now. The days of people testing this stuff like used to be is over. And don't get me wrong, Parrot would have tested this. They're not dull. But I don't think any company anymore, and not even DJI are doing this, are taking community feedback like they used to. DJI used to seed products into the community. I was one of the people that received them for that and tested them. They've stopped that. Autel don't do it. I think there's a move away from taking public feedback, and we're going to provide a product, and you just hope that none of the basics have been missed. And we're seeing companies miss those basics. Let's hope. But
I don't agree with you. Only that the target they have is completely different. They don't go after the YouTubers of the day.
It's a bit
Louis, we weren't that. I wasn't doing YouTube when I was testing this stuff. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. We were the people who were the technical testing in the background. YouTube is the side of what I do. That isn't what I'm good at. What I'm good at is breaking shit. To be blunt.
Oh yeah.
If you look at the launch partners they have, it's companies that are doing something with it. The information. I'm sure it has been available for perhaps more than a year. So it's along one of these babies. It's a little less than what one of these drones takes to develop. So I would say that 2.5 years to come up with this. It's a good estimate to do it. I think they ticked a lot of boxes of what was needed to do. And again, I'm pulling back to the software, and they had a very special attention to the software. If you look on the document,
we'll get there, Louis. Come on, Louis.
your guys are so enthusiastic about, is it 32 minutes or 31 and 30 seconds? No, it's 33 minutes. No, it bends the arms left to right instead of right to left. No, that's not important. What is important is the smarts. It's what's inside. It's how you can customize it to your needs. Sorry, guys.
Well,
but
I think that's just told.
But what is this drone for? Who is this drone for? Because it yet again suffers the same problem as a lot of these aircraft, where the camera is the weak point here. It's another small sensor, large pixel camera without a mechanical shutter.
And you're making me scroll down to one of their claims here, which I wanted to get to later. Wow,
can you go back? I was reading that.
If you come down, are you feeling that, Mark? Are you feeling my frustration? If we come down here somewhere, they show an example of somewhere all the way down here, which we have got to later.
Can we get back up now?
No, people don't want that. What people want is this, which is on the Phantom 4 Pro and on the Inspire 2.
Don't you?
No. Well, it's funny you mentioned the Phantom 4 Pro. So here's the 48 megapixel sensor. Now, who's going to say it first?
It's not.
Ian. Yeah, Ian.
Right, there we go. Move on. I've ranted about this before.
Read through. Come on, Ian. You're so good on reading the specs and don't read.
I never read it. I didn't need to read the spec. It's 48 megapixel. You can't have a half-inch 48 megapixel sensor.
Oh yes, you can.
Well, you can. It technically is, but it isn't. But no, look, I don't care about the pixel. Where's the shutter? People want mechanical shutters. There are posts today. Commercial operators are still today screaming, where is the replacement for the Phantom 4 Pro from anyone?
Hang on. They've improved that camera. And somewhere down here.
Just get back up to that cell tower.
Oh, hell's teeth.
I hope you're all playing along at home.
No, just go a little bit further up, Gary, just a little bit further. Stop there. So at 75 meters, they're saying you see 1 centimeter detail.
Yeah.
75 meters.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's.
I'd like to see that.
Come on, guys. You all have, except Bruce, you all have a smartphone with the camera that has the sensor the size of a grain of rice.
Yes.
And you can get extraordinary pictures with such a small sensor. It's what is called today computational photography. It's different from traditional photography. Okay. I can go with a full-size sensor and getting more than I could with the smartphone. But
here's their claim. Look, 55% more detail than 1-inch sensors
embedded in several professional drones. Now,
AKA Phantom 4 Pro V2.
There we are. Phantom 4 Pro V2. ANAFI AI. There is their claimed.
But that's not more data. That's softer. There's a technical difference there. That's a softer image. I'd like to. The detail is there's a big difference in detail. Now there's an interesting point on this actually, because you do have there's a mode on my S5 which is like 200 megapixel, which it does that sensor moving thing. I don't know if you've seen it, Bruce. You know, it moves the sensor around. It takes like 5 shots and converts it into one, and it's 200 megapixel allegedly. But there isn't a lot of difference when you actually look at it compared to the native 26 megapixel image. It doesn't look 200 megapixel, or it's 100 megapixel, something like that. 1 second, I close.
So then here we are. There's the next claim. Then that ANAFI AI allows users to reach 0.46 GSA at 30 meters.
Do they say anything about global effect of shutter, global shutter, not having one, but the effect of not having it you know, because what the issue is, the reason you want a global shutter is so you don't get items bend basically when you're taking images whilst moving.
Yeah.
The basic idea is you don't get the shutter effect. So, you know, have they corrected this in software? Because that's the big issue.
They do have a piece where they do the grid mapping with photos taken every so many meters using GPS and things. That's when it would come into play. Unless the thing stops and then takes a shot and moves on and stops, which is really inefficient, then you will get rolling shutter effects.
Phantom 4, Pix 4D does that for mapping with the Phantom 4 Pro. It moves, stops, takes a photo, goes, stops.
Yeah, it doesn't need to, but the 4 Pro can do it on the fly because it's got the global shutter, so it can just snap and carry on.
Right. Yeah. I want to go back to bit I want to talk about.
Sorry, have we moved you on too fast, Gary?
Not too fast.
What about the battery? I want to talk about the battery. I want to talk about the battery.
Can you just go forward to a random place in the thing, please? Just randomly move forward. Yeah.
We could. Well, but look. They've spent time telling us about propeller design, and how much quieter it is. And interesting, the shape of fins of humpback whales. What did I was watching over the weekend? Humpback whales. But there we are.
Is that relevant? A humpback whale? I mean, sure. They've taken this biomimicry thing to the max. The way I look at those little things on the front of the prop, surely that's just to reduce the amount of span-wise flow on the prop due to centrifugal effects. Yeah, but that's like whales don't have any span-wise flow on their fins because they're not spinning around.
True. Yeah, that's true. Well, but the other thing is, look, is the date. So that was done in 2020. So it's been on the board for at least 4 months, or 7 months, whatever the month we're in now. But it's apparently considerably quieter. Here we are then. Than the Skydio 2.
So if you just scroll back up, sorry to do this to you, Gary. Just scroll back.
That's all right.
To the blade, to the picture of the blade. So you see that ridge there, those lines. Wasn't there some research on, because air molecules, because they are molecules, there's a bit of a bump. If you actually give a surface some ridges, the air molecules will actually fill the gap and allow it to be smoothed over. Where if it's a smooth surface completely, they actually create a secondary surface. So this helps equal that out.
It's a flying golf ball. It's a flying golf ball.
Golf ball, yeah. The golf ball thing.
Yeah.
Well,
they do
boundary layer effects.
Oh, I've seen that before on other things, I'm sure. It's very clever.
Well, noise is the thing.
Yes. You see it on wind turbine blades, and that's called Vortex Generators. And they are there to reduce the noise and slightly increasing the efficiency of the wind turbine blades. Look, the amount of things that I know about blades and how they are.
It's also common on light aircraft. You have vortex kits, so you can put along the leading edge to create that vortex, but that turbulent boundary layer, which improves efficiencies.
Yeah. So I'm not sure.
So it's actually not biomimicry; it's GA mimicry.
So what about 4G then? Are we going to talk about
You don't like that word, do you? We'll get to the 4G. Just look by neck. So would we actually notice the difference between 71.5 and 76.4? Would we?
Yeah, you would,
notice?
because it's a logarithmic scale. So that many decibels is 6 decibels is twice the loudness almost. It's quite a significant amount. But you could get the same effect by using larger props moving more slowly.
Or be stood further back. Yeah, anyway, wind, MATLAB, wind tunnel tests. I suppose we think that's normal. So sensors, 2 IMU, magnetometer, M80. I should have researched that. I'm not sure about that. U-blocks, barometer.
It's an M8. It's fine. It's an M8.
It's just an M8, isn't it? M8030. Yeah. Time of flight. 10 versus 4.
Yeah, that's just
normal stuff.
2 F10s is basic stuff.
But look at this information that we are being given. I mean, that's the point of this. They're telling us.
It's open source level. Yeah.
Just scroll back one page because it tells you about the camera. There you go. Stop there. The global shutter sensor.
That's on the.
That's the sensor.
Obstacle
avoidance. See, those cameras are cheap. 640 by 480 CCD camera. You can pick those up for $9 on AliExpress. And so the price thing is irrelevant. I think it's
I'll tell you now,
just
Bruce,
tried...
the actual model numbers on here of the camera.
Bruce, buy me a case of them. I'll give you the difference between what I have to pay for global shutter, these kind of cameras, to whatever you pay. I'll pay
640 by 480 pixels, just 640 by 480. It's only a sensor camera. It's nothing fantastic. Runcam have got heaps of them.
Oh God. Okay, Bruce. I'm not going to argue with you.
If you look at my recent video where I put the FPV on the Mustang, that little tiny Mustang, notice the propeller is not blurred or curved. It's just like static because it's a global shutter on those CCD cameras.
So who just asked the question that you flashed up there, Gary?
That was Wolf, who'll buy the Parrot just by the impression. Well, quite, and that's what I was trying to say. It's a pity that you haven't. I'm sure Louis' right. It has got into big inspection companies' hands in the last year, but it's a pity as they've released this that they didn't say release some videos from inspection company XYZ who did this with it, and this is how it worked, rather than just stuff from Parrot.
Yeah, when I see real world for this, I've got work for this machine. If it's as good as they say it is,
yeah,
I've got work day in, day out for that machine. And I
think loads of people have. I think loads of people have. This
is the Parrot ANAFI RSN. Is that the one? AI RSN. Real soon now.
It is interesting,
get that.
Because if you remember when DJI launched theirs, they had police videos from the UK. The UK police were heavily involved, actually. They'd seeded them out. And as you say, Parrot haven't learned from that, it seems. But where's the weight on this? I've not seen the weight.
It's 900 grams. It is 900 grams. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Because that's going to fit very nicely in with the European weight limits.
So that would be a C1 aircraft then if they got it marked up.
Yeah.
That could just go in. If they lose 1 gram off it, you could C1 it. So it has to be sub 900. And that would be really
probably. Well, it will probably have an exact number, but I'm sure it's 900. Control, gravity, indoor flight. So vertical man velocity, and then it's doing its Skydio thing. Shouldn't say that, I suppose, for indoors. But we'll talk about more of that in a minute. Normal to fly, it's all stuff we know. So there we are. There are the offending sensors. Oh, look, I didn't notice that you keep the paperwork underneath it before. Oh, that's
it's the compliance documents, all the compliance documents. One thing, with those cameras again there, now the Skydio has upward-facing cameras, side cameras, down cameras. This thing can only look, sensor speaking, in one direction at a time. So what happens when you're flying underneath something and you want to look for things above and things forward?
These are independent of that, though, aren't they? Yes. So they move separate.
Yeah, but I'm talking from an object avoidance proposition. You want to not bang into things above you, but also not things in front of you. Which way does it look?
Well, this could be looking as that's looking down, couldn't it?
You haven't read the good document that Gary sent you. So it really looks at the direction of movement.
Yeah, but if you're flying along forwards, there could be a sloping, something coming down above you. It's not as good as the Skydio avoidance where I see this because it can only look in one direction at a time.
I'd agree with Bruce.
You're thinking too close aperture of the cameras. No, the cameras look a bit more than that. The aperture, the vertical aperture, is more than what you think. So you do build above you the occupancy map.
Do you know the one thing that concerns me about this design on the front? And we've said it before, and I've said it about a product which I've got over there. How brittle is this going to be? Because I'm not being funny. That's
I completely. I would hope all of that is super easy to change.
Also, it has to be calibrated. It's calibrated in the factory, but then it has another calibration you can run manually. So after any kind of little ding, you're going to have to recalibrate the damn thing to make sure it's all still working properly.
Don't hit anything.
Yeah, well, yes, but if you look, that camera is on a rather, we can pull the design apart, but if you're going to produce something unusual, then they do need to expect us to pull the design apart as well. It's extremely pretty. There's, it is.
You think it's pretty?
I think it's from a design point of view. I think it's interesting. I think it's unusual, but
catches your attention, doesn't it?
Is it?
Then again, Ian likes Apple products. It looks like an Apple product.
No, it's the problem is we can all design some stuff is really nice, but it's not practical. It's just not practical.
Sorry, Ian's opinion from Wales. Some stuff is really nice.
When the Mavic was launched, everybody thought it was strange, right?
Yes.
Oh, folding arms, that thing will bend during flight. Oh, this, oh, that. I still remember the criticisms that some did when the Mavics were launched with those crazy folding arms. And everybody was saying, "Oh, the arms will topple during flight. Oh, the this and that." And now,
well, Dan didn't like it. I've no words. Some dumb design, but this one takes a cake. I'd like you to unpack that a little bit more, if you would, in the comments, please, Dan. We spoke about the moving avoidance cameras, John, and complexity. That was Uncle Bruce's comment about that. I suppose that really the proof's in the pudding. If this thing really does what it says it does on the tin, then everyone will go, "Oh, I like that. I like that all along. It's the best thing ever." If it doesn't, then they won't. Let's continue on.
My problem with this is this. All they had to do was make something that looked like a Phantom 4 Pro with this spec, because there's some really impressive software in here, especially. Really impressive. Yeah. And they'd have stolen a market. I just think this is a risk. The aircraft design is a risk they didn't have to take.
Oh, I really remember a couple of years ago when someone launched a phone and said, "You don't need keys. You can touch on the screen." Oh,
yeah, but Louis, the phone doesn't fly.
I need my BlackBerry.
Yeah, but you don't.
I need my BlackBerry.
Okay,
BlackBerry.
Who are they selling this to? Commercial operators, industrial partners. Right. So this is going to be thrown around, tossed in vans, tossed in vehicles. We're not going to be talking a product here that always has the kind of people like us who do look after them. This is expected to withstand the lowest common denominator of use, which is going to be a guy turns up to a field. Because we've all discussed this before, that the drone industry is moving to the pilot being redundant. Just a person will turn up, put it on the ground, and the software will handle the rest. All this is going to take is one bump, one mistake, one crack on the edge of a branch or something, and it's already in trouble. The design is a risk that was unnecessary. I'm not saying I don't like it, but I think Parrot should have just made a flying white box with the technology, and they would have had a home run.
Yeah, I agree. It's about style over function. And I guess Parrot looked at it and said, we've got to be totally distinctive on this. And the marketing people got involved and said, well, we can use biomimicry. That's a really long word that people won't understand, but it makes us sound impressive. And we can do this, that, and the other, make it look like an insect. And, oh, we want a drone, the engineers said. No, said the marketing people. You must have the styly drone. Yes. And that's what they've done. They produced the styly drone. And at the moment, they hadn't even produced that because it's still vaporware. We haven't seen one.
Oh, by the way, Bruce, go up, Gary. Go up, Gary.
So
stop. Hey, Bruce, tell me what's the price of these on your local shop, the cameras?
A 640 by 480 monochrome CCD camera.
You have the model number of the cameras and the brand. Come on.
Why would you use something like that when you don't have to? You just use a simple one. You can buy these global things. I mean, if you look at that, you're probably looking at 1280 by 800, which is an HD camera, global shutter, monochrome. I would be not surprised if you can find something equivalent to that on AliExpress for under $30, $40.
Oh, God, Bruce, you're so wrong.
Okay, I'll have a look.
No. Okay,
I just looked, and if that camera I've just priced on DigiKey is $6,000.
Pardon?
You're talking DigiKey, though. Come on, let's be serious. Let's look at
I know, that's what I'm looking at. I'm trying to figure out.
No, it can't be, because if it is, because everyone's because that's the other thing we don't know is what this is going to cost. And everyone's saying, it's going to be $7,000. Well, if you're telling me that each of those is $6,000, it's not going to be $7,000.
DigiKey so far has been the only place with an actual cost.
Price.
Yeah.
On this, on on semi ARs. This one. This is what we're looking at.
The
now.
AR on DigiKey. So let me just go back to DigiKey. So this is the AR 0144 CSS M28
SUD20.
UD20. Yeah, and there's an RC1 version, which will just be a revision on the end. That won't be. And the unit price. What was that? £4.65. Can't quite tell.
Guys, please remember to not let Ian go shopping at Amazon.
do you know what? As an aside, the government did here in Gauteng.
No. So missed that. That's a quantity of 2,555. So wait there. Oh no, wait there. I'm not sure. Unit price 6,000. Oh no, $6. $6. There we go.
No, but
the disco, pretty inefficient. Yeah, I'd love to see it flying for judging. You're exactly right, Wolf. You're exactly right. And that disco, I so regret not getting one of those, especially when they sold them cheap in Curry's or wherever it was in England.
See, just look at that there, that design there, right? Look at how thin that arm is. I'm not saying just one knock there.
Here's the thing.
Parrot have sold 4.5 million drones, over 4.5 million drones now. So they do know a little bit of what they're doing.
Oh God! I still have the original ANAFI, and it has been bumping all around. As have their very fast landings. It taught 3 pilots to fly without GPS assistance. So and it's still there, ready to rock and roll. I'm not sure. Everything given the correct input. So I'm not saying this will be indestructible. It will not. It won't be. But the thing is, I don't have any bad experience. And even the original Parrot drone, I still have it lying around somewhere. And it's still, if I can manage to come up with a battery to put it to fly, it will be flying. But now we are looking at what's interesting on this, and this an evolution. Does it work?
I don't know. I just found it today because going with Ian's having historic drone projects. I'm just going to remember where the charger is now. I found this. I've got to find a charger. Then I'll try and get my AR drone going as well.
Louis, you're talking. We're not against Parrot here. At the end of the day, we have to objectively rip this apart because and I hand on heart, I think they've taken a risk that was unnecessary. All they had to do was make a flying white box. And they could have had a huge market.
I don't know.
And Louis, I found that camera for 57 New Zealand dollars. I put a link in the private chat. Have a look.
Order one.
Now the thing is, this is something that is an evolution from the ANAFI. They kept the good parts of the ANAFI and they've improved it. And don't forget. This is the first announcement, and on the ANAFI, you got the ANAFI USA that went with the dual camera. So nothing that we know now cannot stop a multi-sensor camera being used. Okay.
Wow. Yeah, that was Bruce's sensor choice I put in up there. Sometimes it's time to, again, I'm going to agree with Wolf. That's just what I was going to say. Sometimes it is time to take a risk. And this is why I'm excited about this, because it's just like, wow, this is all cool, as long as it all works.
Hang on. We can't fly a 251-gram drone in our garden, but we can take a risk like this? This doesn't sound right.
I
don't must be regulation against this.
God.
I don't think it's any question it'll work, is it? Because Parrot, they've delivered. I think one thing you can say about Parrot is they always deliver on the product they put out. So I've got zero concern any of this will work because I think they're not dull. They're not going to say this stuff. The ANAFI does a fantastic job. Everything they make is good. So there's no reason to expect this, not to be what they've said.
No, well then, sorry, after you, Lee.
No. I was just saying that this is a choice they made, and as a choice they made, I really think that going the white box route would be the same as doing another BlackBerry. And we've all seen what happened to BlackBerry. So they went a different route. And come on, look at DJI M300s. When the M300 was launched with the upside down propellers, everybody was, oh, the downward facing propellers, I can no longer hang it and do end landings or takeoff landings.
Someone's proved you can hand land one. They tried hanging off the bottom of it, but that's a different story, isn't it?
Yeah, but you know what some guys, I think it was a UK guy that got his end severely cut by trying to end land an M300. That was a report I've seen somewhere.
That was in America. Yeah, I know the one you're talking about. That was in America when he had the flyaway, as it were, didn't he? Against the So, tried to reach up and switch it off. They'll take the battery out, didn't he? Lower battery.
Yeah. I'm with Louis. I agree with Louis. This is actually showing that Parrot are smarter than all the other drone companies because they realize the importance of marketing. If you can build the best mousetrap in the world, but if you don't market it, it will sit on the shelves. No one will buy it. Parrot have realized that if you see this drone in the wild, people are going to say, that's a Parrot ANAFI. I recognize it. If they built a Phantom 4 lookalike, people wouldn't be able to make that immediate distinction. And every time someone sees that drone, it's marketing itself. It's selling itself. As I said, this is an engineering document the marketers have got hold of, and they've turned it into a fantastic piece of marketing material. And so in that respect, it is a categorical win. They should be congratulated for what they've done here, turning engineering into art and into a product that will sell itself because of its distinctiveness. And you can't criticize that. You can criticize the individual component features and the choices made, but as a package, this is fantastic.
Dan talking about when the gimbals for the camera and for the sensors move independently.
Just look up and look down. It's what the current ANAFI does, so it's no different.
Yeah, so this is the piece where they're getting into the Skydio bit. I don't doubt that this is going to work as advertised, and if it truly does, and it is robust, it blows all the blue SUS, including their own, out of the water at the moment.
There's also a point here, and I think Ian will appreciate this. You don't need the drone to test it. You have the code of the simulator.
Yeah,
so you can fly it, and you can put your own code on top of the simulator and fly it. So you can see all of this. This is all doable right now.
Yeah, all of the object sensing doesn't ever need hardware testing. That can all be done in software on computer. Do you know what I mean? Because you can do all of that. Hardware really comes down to the basic stuff that tends to get missed. That's where the hardware comes down to, and random crap.
And now this picture I loved. Sorry, I'm jumping in on you, Lou, but this picture I love because that's exactly the sort of picture Skydio put out. So I just love it. Yeah,
do you think there's Skydio DNA in this? Do we think, because we know they have a close relationship?
Could be.
No, I don't think it's a different approach. The engineering concepts, the mathematics are very similar. Different approaches to what is being done.
I just wonder if there's an underlying, Louis. Like an underlying, because we know they work closely, but Skydio's IP is their own IP, and
they went. In my opinion, Skydio is a step above with the usage of NVIDIA, and NVIDIA, let's face it, it dominates the image processing on small board computers.
Have they said what computer's in this, Louis? Have they actually mentioned that? I haven't seen that mentioned.
Can comment on that.
Is it in the document?
On that. It's a VIC 20.
A VIC 20. Is it in the document? I've not.
Well, we'll have a look. So that's trajectory, what it's going to do. Avoidance performances are limited in rainy or strong wind conditions, low light or disturbed satellite navigation environment. Now, the only reason I'm pointing that out is that they're telling us this. There are others that don't tell us this. So they are being upfront about that, which is cool. Right, here we are.
Hang on then. So avoidance performances. It doesn't say it can't fly in rain.
No, it can fly in rain.
It can fly in rain, but will be harder for the object avoidance system to work correctly. It's a limitation of algorithms, Mark.
Here's the important bit. If you can fly, you don't need anti-collision anyway. The important bit there is you can fly in rain. That actually is a game changer in many respects. Because if you need collision avoidance to fly, I understand it's handy. I mean, even I will use it in close proximity. But some of the stuff I've been doing recently, if I could fly in rain, gets a bit interesting.
Yeah, but your camera's useless in rain with raindrops all over the lens.
That is one problem.
I can try to explain. The thing is, you'll get lots of voxels created artificial by the rain, and so you'll have more difficulty distinguishing between what is a real object or a temporal object like rain. So it will be, your collision avoidance will be active longer than without rain.
Turn it off. I'll just turn it off. If I'm flying,
well, here we go. This is the bit where you could do that, and this is the bit where we start talking about software. Air SDK. So allows developers to access every drone sensor, camera, connectivity interface, and autonomous feature. They can therefore customize the drone behavior to create flight missions. So this is where it starts getting cool.
I think for me, the entire document could have only this chapter here of the Air SDK. It's the biggest game changer of all. You have your own code running inside the drone. No fancy stuff, no delays of transmission, no problems on connectivity between the remotes or the computer on the ground and the computer in the air. Your code is running inside. And the choice of supported languages is also good. So I think that's the biggest advantage of this system as for now.
So talks about the normal
that's the default
flights it has. That's what we're talking about. Hand landing, I'm never sure about hand landing. Hand perception model, I'm still, the database on 3,000 hands.
No. If anyone ever recommends hand catching, just walk up to them and slap them across the face and go, that's it. That's all you got to do.
I'm not a big fan of it myself. I
usually run out of hands before I run out of landings.
Yeah, exactly.
Guys, have you tried? And this is for you, Mark. What's the current drone that you're flying?
Either the Phantom 4 Pro, Mavic 2 Enterprise, the new Enterprise, or the Mini 2.
Have you ever tried to be on a boat in the North Sea and try to land that?
I'm not. No, I'll be clear. No, I haven't, because I'm not offshore certified. I know people that do boat catch. They put the aircraft in ATI mode when they can. They'll bring it along slide, so it's not so bad. And they often have the handrails for the Inspire. People that do that are brave. Not for me. I wouldn't recommend it in a month of Sundays.
Yeah, there are lots of situations that you really, really need to do and catch.
I hand catch the Inspire 2 regularly. It's fairly straightforward as long as you know what you're doing. You just got to remember when the props go off, it's about to drop. It's because it weighs a ton. And what you don't realize is the arms come down automatically on the Inspire 2. So if you hand catch it with the arms up, the second the motors, it starts to stop. It also starts to lower the legs down towards your hands.
And it is an art form. I get it's an art to hand catch. What I'm saying is, for 99.9% of the flies out there, Do not hand catch. Your hand will end up a mess. Leave it to the guys that can fly, like Louis or Ian or Bruce or Gary. But
No,
I'm just stupid.
Only does it.
Oh
on
no, never,
no.
no.
I'll be honest. The reason I do it is I fly from a lot of beaches.
Yeah.
And the problem is taking off generally isn't too bad. I've normally got something down, but for landing, I prefer to keep the sand away from everything. So I tend to always hand catch.
Yeah, but again, I would say to most people, if you're watching, I do not recommend it in any way, shape, or form, because a prop will make a mess of your hand very quickly when it goes sideways. And it's not just your hand it could hit; it will cut you like butter. Okay,
but the Parrot props will cut you more quietly.
That's the old don't run around with scissors, right?
Yeah.
I didn't see the place for the scissors. Where was the place for the scissors? I didn't see that. This is interesting, sort of picking somebody out from a crowd. I thought this little bit was a bit of autonomous targeting, really. But anyway, so track that person.
No, for the police, this is great. So if you can tell it to track a person in a crowd, the police are going to love this because they're going to go tap, follow that person. It's going to be really good for that surveillance like that. You know, it's going to that is a game changer because normally you've got to track manually. You know, you've got.
Speaking of police, though, I didn't bother reading. Does it have remote ID, compliant remote ID?
It does.
ASTM standard, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that in a minute.
Even the current ANAFI already has it.
Yeah.
Turn it off.
Quiz interest, autonomous flight.
And now the other piece of interesting information, you're looking at Free Flight 7.
Yes.
It's also open sourced. So the amount of work to build a new ground control station software, it was possible before, but now you have all the pieces of the existing application open sourced. That is also a huge, because you just pick up their app and build your own customized thing on top of their app. So it's a great innovation too here. I really like the way they're moving. They're open sourcing a lot of things and making their SDKs easy to access and easy to manipulate. And if you look at the developer.parrot.com site, even as of now, I believe they're on a coming soon status for the public release. But the current system that supports the old ANAFIs, and I mean ANAFIs USA, ANAFI X2, whatever, they have the same kind of support. Only this adds the Free Flight 7 open sourced and the Air SDK. All the rest is more of the same.
Yeah.
So
if you look at this text in this just below, if you just scroll just a tad up, Gary, so I can't quite read the very bottom there, the wrong way side down.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
This is a game changer because you show me another machine that's open source that's going to be able to do this.
Yeah, so well, you can do it with a few, but you can't do it off something that one day you'll be able to buy from a shop.
Yeah, exactly.
The software side of this thing is highly impressive. You know, there is zero question that they need to get a fleet of different vehicles out there quickly because they've now got the software side cracked. If all of this does what we expect it to do, you just need different ranges of products.
Well, you need a few grown-ups to have them in their hands and say to people, no, really, this is really doing this. You know, because I don't doubt them. Go on, Louis, sorry.
I believe Ian is going to build the NAIR SDK app, which is the Welsh 5G pole surveillance.
It'll get burned if it's down here and it says 4 or 5G on it. Someone will set it on fire. So how long before people start setting this drone on fire for causing 5G and 4G nonsense?
So then it tells us that the ANAFI air camera has the most accurate stabilization of the micro UAV market. Yeah, again, it's hard to know, but it does look complex. So we're going to go with Bruce's. It does look complex. That is.
Do we know
It's
if
interesting
that's
they use the
metal
term. They use the term micro UAV in Canada. That means sub 250.
Ah,
Do we know if that's metal, magnesium, plastic? Is there,
unobtainium.
That's not relevant. The relevant is, okay, they go on top of the traditional gimbal stabilizer, and they added what is common on cell phone industry, which is the electronic stabilizing. So they have the sensor and they cut up the image a bit. That's what is usually done, and stabilize the image electronically. So,
but look, Louis, it is relevant the material it's made from a longevity point of view. What I'm just meaning, are they, if these are like magnesium or something like that, it's going to give a bit more strength, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
All those moving parts in a dusty environment, like a commercial or industrial use, I wonder what the wear factor would be.
I think Tokoroa would be a nice testing ground for this.
Yes,
I think so too, Louis. Just get them to send me one. I shall give it a completely objective review.
Yeah.
I do know that there's a big market for the guys who do quarry work, and I do know, there was an active poster on some of the DJI forums, and they were destroying M200s and Phantom 4 Pros in weeks simply because.
But look, it's got an air filter. You can see the air filter from here.
Ian, if you're flying a quarry, you want a fixed wing because it's just big and fast. Far better machine.
When you're talking about Rio Tinto, they like their quads, and they spend a big.
funny to say that. They fly fixed wing down here.
Are they over there? They're quads in the US. Quads in the US, and interestingly,
big swing here. Well, that's because we've got proper size mines here. But anyway, so there's some gimbal performance. We just have to take their word for it there, don't we, really?
Well, you say with everyone, it's all nonsense figures on a bit of paper. That doesn't really mean anything, doesn't it?
No.
Go back.
Pull up.
What is front camera crash-proof self-protection? What is it? Does that mean if it senses it's crashing, it folds itself up and puts it away, or what does it do?
Yeah.
Well, you've got to wonder that, haven't you? With that great big void underneath there, you wonder if it doesn't swing itself back into that area there.
Yeah.
Now, what's important here is the range of the camera. It's the most impressive. It's even better than the one from the current ANAFI.
Yeah, it is impressive. You can do that stuff. I need to get an ANAFI. I've still not flown one properly. I had a pay.
I've flown the Parrot ANAFI. It's a nice machine. That is just bonkers, though. If it can look at that 292, that's just going to be bonkers.
It can look up its own clicker. That's amazing, but it can't see its own props.
Yeah, well,
just
fair.
good
point. Here we go. Yeah. Right. Burning.
Oh, this is the part that I really, really seriously question the benefit of this. I'm not sure.
And legality. Is there a single? Is there? Because I was talking about this to someone who in the know this week, and the information I have in the UK, and I don't know about Europe, is it is not legal to fly, 4 or 5G network connectivity because it is not licensed.
Mobile.
It is licensed for ground use only.
Really, really interesting. I know, I've heard the same thing as Ian, though I do know of several machines that are flown in the UK over the 4G network, but that I believe they have been signed off as such.
It's like a testing, isn't there? There's nothing in legislation for this right now. No, I don't know about Europe.
But what's really interesting, a 4G network works better in the air. So if you're actually cruising along at 300 to 400 feet, your 4G connection is actually better than ground level. And the reason being is at ground level, you've got all the houses and all the Wi-Fi and all the other crap, all the buildings in the way, where if you're actually up and above it, your signal reception's better. But because something is not signed off, it means you can't use it. But technically, it works really well.
But read the line below the 4G topic. allowing to transmit the video in 1080p with low latency, 300 milliseconds to anywhere. Basically, that's
Bonkers.
I'm not so much concerned about command and control being so far away. This is also very, very interesting. 300 milliseconds is good enough.
Yeah, it's good enough. Let's be realistic. You don't need less than that for a quad. You're not putting it through loops.
There's going to be so many people crashing these things into gates.
Oh God, no! That's why he has a collision avoidance system, and no Bruce Simpson nearby.
Just because he's getting a divorce, there's no reason to crash.
You can't dive a wind turbine with 300 milliseconds of latency.
So here's one thing that's really interesting then, because if you switch to a 4G network and you turned off the remote ID, let's say you turn that off and you're on the 4G network, what do you think it just kippered in every way, shape and form, and would make really good for, I'll let you fill in the gaps there a little bit, but what do you think that really affects?
No, you're still broadcasting the Wi-Fi signal, only that you cannot do command and control via the Wi-Fi. You're doing via the 4G. So if someone sees your drone and has the correct receiver, can still tell, oh, this is Mark flying overhead my teenage daughter sunbathing.
This is the drone that Mark used to have before it was stolen by the man who wants to upset airport operations.
Yeah.
So what's really, because if it switched to 4G completely, so if you could fly this on 4G completely, no counter drone system would be detecting it on the RF network. The only counter UAS that would see this would be radar, and they have a real problem then with Wi-Fi ones as well. So all counter UAS has problems with Wi-Fi, which is really crazy. Yeah, you could. Yeah, exactly. So in 4G, you put a 4G in the Discovery. It was a hack. It was done in countries where it's not signed off. You could fly for quite some distance, but if you're on the 4G network, you're no longer going to be seen by counter UAS. And if it's a Wi-Fi signal, the counter UAS has a real problem picking that out. It's going to be interesting.
Now, both radios will be transmitting. Only that the command and control as it does. But we haven't reached the good part about what the problem that you're saying about the counter UAS, because the amount of security that this drone has is mind-boggling. Don't forget that even the pictures that the drone takes are encrypted.
See, that's really good. That's really nice, because the Phantom 4 Pro and I think the Inspire 1, but the Phantoms, there is a system out there that can inject a new home point to them. And they can be actually told to go to a new home point. They can actually be hacked in flight.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
Yeah. Well, that congestion control, the remote control in 4G, it's all good. I've seen mostly it's all been DJI lovers that have had a big dig at the 4G side of it. But I completely get it if it's adaptive and it goes around the back of a building, and you're working around the back of a building for photos, and momentarily you lose it, and it swaps to 4G. Everyone's a winner. I completely get it. And it's. I'm not sure about the quick processing and all that. I'm not sure about that, but I get this basically. There's a Wi-Fi 4K Parrot Sky Controller 4, omnidirectional, blah blah blah, high radio front power front end, etc. Robust. Right, here we go.
That's
channels, video streaming, error resistance. Let's get on a little bit more. We've covered this already.
There's more.
What more do you want to cover about the camera then?
Can we go back to see what film ratios it does for video? So
where was that? Was that there?
Yeah. So hang on then. So we can have 4K up to 30 frames. Oh, 4K Ultra HD.
That's normal 4K.
Yeah, that's normal 4K.
So 60 frames a second.
But it can do up to 60 pixel binning. So it's doing binning. So it has 10 bits. Yeah. So 4K 30 10 bit, pixel binning to 60, 1080p 120.
And you have the one that is HDR. So those that film will use P-Log, but if you want to have nice crispy pictures, you can do 4K HDR.
Why is it called P-Log?
This thing isn't really.
Why is it called P-Log? Why can they not use the same word everyone else in the industry uses, which is D-Log? Why did they need to change the letter for Parrot Log?
Yeah,
because it's probably a proprietary version of the log format. You need your own LUTs and everything to bring it back to log.
Do you want to have your S-Log? I have
S-Log for Sony.
From Sony.
Yeah, I know, I suppose. Yeah.
But what is nice, 1080p, 120 frames. That'd be nice.
Yeah, it'll look crap. They always do.
Yeah.
On all of them. There's not one of them.
So ganged up on slow motion that you want so many slow frame rates. Come on.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, surely this isn't really what it's for, is it? It's not to be a cinematic thing flying around.
So here's a question: how much do we think this costs then?
I keep hearing $7,000, but I think people are just making that up, and as I'm contributing there to the the onslaught of $7,000, but I've no idea. I've no idea.
So its competition is the kicker. So
no, go up, no up on the beginning of HDR.
So
that first line is amazing, absolutely amazing. The dynamic range is absolutely mind-boggling. It's not that easy. Can you do that with an X7, Ian?
14. I can't remember how many stops an X7's got.
Yeah, but I don't know what this means.
It's a different territory. You're not going to see someone sitting there with a DP in this aircraft. The X7, the lenses on the X7 probably cost more than this aircraft will end up costing, let alone them.
Yeah,
it's not. The problem is, what aircraft is it? The problem is they built a. I was going to use a word, but I better not. It's a vajazzle in a way. It's look at the remote. Go look at the remote controller. Find the picture of the remote, Gary.
It's got bling. It's bling to buggery that remote.
It is. Who is this for? It's got bloody gold on it. I'm just looking for
like a Walkera.
Or look, who is? I'm going to rip them apart now. I think the technology is outstanding. I think the design is a mistake. I think what they've got here is potentially extremely good. But who is this for? It looks like a toy from the remote controller point of view. It's not a professional drone. But is it priced as a professional drone? Is the marketing team were allowed to do what they want, and someone should have gone, no, we need to make this a realistic product.
Well, maybe I'm going to counter that a little bit, because they semi-hid this document, which has loads of information. Well, not hid it, but it was hard to find. So if maybe they spent all the marketing budget making this document and anodizing things, but it's still a bit of a mystery to most people, this machine.
Where's that picture? Put the picture of the remote up, Gar. Just look at it. Where is it?
It's all the way back at the top.
Is it at the top?
It reminds me of the Walkera FPV goggles. Yeah. They were white with gold things. I had to wear my dangly chain when I reviewed that. It was just so bad.
Yeah, there's a big picture of the box.
It's for the bling.
Probably, yeah.
The bling. You have to go for the bling.
Yeah, but not at $7,000. This is not. If it looked like this,
we don't know that it's that much. What are those in the box for? I've never noticed that before. Why are those in the box?
Everyone loves sticking.
That's the calibration for the object sensing. That'll be the calibration boards. Yeah, I got one with the Inspire 2. They're quite common. So where is it? Go down. Is it down? There's a bigger picture of the remote somewhere. It might be a bit up actually.
It might be a bit up now, because you got me going up and down and up and down.
Yes. But if this is a £1,500 drone, then I get the design because it's designed.
There we are.
If this is a £1,500 drone, this is designed to appeal to people. I'm not being funny. That's designed for the YouTube community. I'm sorry, but that's designed to look nice on YouTube. Because what
Can we be a bit more generous and say it's French joie de vivre?
No.
Yeah, you'd also think that if it was going to be 10 grand, that at least give you an LCD to go with your remote instead of requiring you to use your phone.
Well, that's where your 4G is coming from, isn't it?
I just wish they'd make it so it was easy to drop something like the Mini in. You know, just drop the iPad Mini in. That would be far better than yeah. I hate the way they go.
I think they've announced that it fits the iPad. One of the iPads. I think it's the Mini 6 or Mini.
Okay. I got the 5. Yeah.
Is there a Mode 1 version?
A Mode 1 version. I don't know. Right. Let's go back up here. Where were we? 39. It's only 82 pages, but 82 pages of information for us to rip into.
I think they should be. For the document, a massive kudos for them releasing so much open information. The software looks amazing. The overall spec looks good. I just think.
Well, yeah, we were here, camera.
They were just too high when they let the design team go.
Well, this one go photogrammetry. This amazed me. I would love to see this model and how they made it. I would love to see the life story of generating that model, but they haven't released it. So I think the marketing has missed a trick there.
It's not that easy to put a model like this live on the web.
It's very hard.
No,
you just make a video.
Yeah, make a video. Say we flew this many times. This is how we did it. Here's Trevor. He was driving. Here's Eve. Eve was doing the mapping. Or this is how it just. I think they missed a trick with this. When that video played in this show, I thought, wow, that made me stop and think. Which I think they've missed a trick with a lot of these pieces. Perhaps it's all coming, but perhaps.
So 48 megapixel stills at 1 frame per second.
Yeah, that's you know what that means, right?
That's bonkers. Well, I'm hoping it means I can press record. I can just keep doing this, and it keeps up with me.
You just go to time lapse and set it to 1 second, and Bob's your uncle.
Yeah, which is
brother.
Everyone else is 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Well, hang on. I think somewhere we mentioned that here somewhere. We mentioned the comparison about the feet per second somewhere here. I forgot where. So yeah, but this is straight out of Pix4D, all this bit, isn't it? But that's cool.
But that's now inside. There are a few of those flight inspections straight from the open sourced Free Flight 7 thing, like the automatically generating missions wherever you want. That's a good thing.
And automatically inspecting towers and things like that and sorting that out. That'd be very handy for a lot of people.
I've been flying a lot of towers, but I wouldn't trust automation near what I've been flying because too many trees, and I just don't trust your side sensors not to go into the tree.
Yeah, look, another great comment from John. It looks like it's designed for the hobby consumer market, technology and price professionals. Win-win or lose-lose is a very, very fair comment. Very fair comment.
Proof will be in the pudding. If it's as good as they say it is, with all this open source, and we're going to all doubt the hardware to a bit because it's a completely unique looking machine, But if it weighs like 900 grams and the front camera is secure and it is solidly built, actually, it could be. It could be.
What about the battery? What about the battery, Bruce?
We've got to get to the battery soon. Wait for it, Bruce. But yeah, here's it. 48. There's your bit about your one 1 FPS and 0.5. So it allows it to fly 1.8 times higher than drones with a 20 megapixel sensor. 20,
that's called Phantom Pro V2.
Yeah, exactly. Or the Autel Evo. So that tells you you're going to get a lot more done with it in the same amount of time. There we go.
That's what I need.
Yeah. Well, in-flight 4G transferred, but I'm not sure about the advantage of that of transferring in-flight to Pix4D cloud. But maybe that'll be useful to someone.
Think of the thing, Gary. It doesn't have to be to Pix4D clouds because you can have your own code running there.
Yeah.
True.
So basically, I could be modeling something and it can be sent straight back to the office. The only thing is, of course, you've got to have serious, decent broadband to do it, or 4G to do that, and you've got to have a good amount of data.
Perhaps that's why they have a 4G drone.
Yes, to help you get there. Yeah. So of course it's compatible with Pix4D. That's obvious. Why photogrammetry or lidar? That's an argument that goes on and on. Yeah. And here's the partners: Pix4D with the new logo, Skyward, DroneSense, Hoversine, Aloft, who were what's the name? Weren't they? I've forgotten now. Drone Logbook,
Ground Control,
UGCS, Highlander, Air Data, Textron. Textron, that's an interesting one. Now, here's the software development kit. Embed your code, create mobile apps. It's
now Sphinx and Olim. That's absolutely where it shines.
Yeah, so
they even tell you exactly the software. Go up to that color chart.
This one.
They tell you exactly how things work. Flight supervisor, the guidance, the services, the camera controllers, and the Linux that runs on the bottom, supporting everything.
Yeah. Again, another good comment from Wolf there about if it's priced too high. Oh, where did everyone go? Are you all still there? You all disappeared for me.
You all went to 4G.
Price-wise, it can't. If it costs more than $2K, it's too expensive.
Well, what's £2,000 in dollars? I don't know what it is these days.
But the thing is, it's when it comes to price, it's not what it costs; it's what it saves you over a period of time. It's an investment; it's not just a cost. So, if you could claw that back within a month, even if it was $10,000, that's a cheap drone for the service it delivers.
Why is Ian gone retro? By the way.
That's in the French style.
Something's gone wrong with the camera.
It's a Phil Collins album, isn't it?
I don't think he's gone wrong with the camera. I think something's gone wrong with Ian, to be honest.
It's advanced media player. It's got all the stuff. Look, the simulator does look cool, doesn't it? Look, here's a CAD model. So if you want to integrate stuff and fiddle about with it, there's your CAD models.
It must be true.
Well, no, I mean, there might be things you want to put in there and they're letting you have that. So that's quite nice of them, isn't it? Or not? I mean, you'd have to do this. Here we are, Mavic and Gutma compatibility. So they're going with the Gutma remote ID and UTMs. And that, of course, is ASTM.
Put that last comment. I've gotten the cheap sensor.
Yes, he's just showing. See how easy it is, Louis?
It's very true. You've well identified. So Gutma. So here we are. Here's Ian's favourite bit: the Sky Controller 4. Ian particularly likes the gold look. Yeah, well, look, he's gone all Phil Collins in the air tonight. He's perfect for this now. Perfect. 2 hours 30 autonomy. That means the battery will run for 2 hours 30. So is that a little bit more than you're getting out your current controller, Mark, that you were mentioning earlier?
Probably not. It's about the same, which is rubbish. 2 hours and 30 minutes is no good in a professional world.
And there we are, compatible devices up to 8 inch iPad
Just
Does that include while powering the phone or what?
Whether read this marketing bullshit in the middle here. The Sky Controller 4 remote shares the ANAFI AI's visual identity.
Well, you sharing your visual identity now, aren't you? I mean,
Take my money. Take my money, Parrot.
You're going all Ian brand there, aren't you?
But this can only fly 5 times. So this controller can only fly the aircraft 5 times. If each battery is 32 minutes, that's 5 flights.
No, four ANAFI batteries flight time, it says. It tells
sorry,
us there.
Over 4, yeah. It's not quite 5, is it? That means
It's
not quite 5, yeah.
That is, I hate to say this. If
the sun's gone down in Wales and Ian's lights have gone out because he's all solar.
Oh, he's decided to leave.
If that's for the professional flyers, 4 flights is no good.
You reckon?
You just plug a power bank into it and away you go, mate.
But the problem is you can't typically fly in charge. If it allows flying charging, then yes. I mean, take the Mavic 2 Enterprise, the new one. I'm flying that. It's shockingly bad how long that battery lasts in that thing in the smart controller.
Well, here's batteries for it.
Oh God! Don't get me started about battery management with the RTKs of DJI that had that big TB50 battery, and they went to the WB37 batteries that you have to be looking at the battery every 5 minutes. Don't get me started on batteries.
Louis, would you like to start on batteries now?
Oh God! Oh, Bruce.
So it takes 2 hours to charge the controller. If you scroll back,
Here we go, Bruce. We're coming to your bit now.
Just
go. Oh, no, we're going to go back.
Buy
Sorry,
2
Bruce.
controllers.
There you go.
Sorry.
There we go. Look at that charging time for the controller.
Well, they want to sell you 2 controllers. One's charging while you're flying the other, and then you can just keep going and going.
So it takes 2 hours to charge it for 2.5 hours use. I'm sorry, there's something wrong here.
Fixed it.
Fixed it. What was wrong with it?
The microphone.
Microphone.
No, sorry. It was the Phil Collins edition of the Logitech software kicked in.
Oh, yeah. Every hour on the hour, a little bit of Phil Collins. Very good.
Yeah,
very
something
good.
in the air tonight.
Something in the air tonight, exactly. So, hang on. I saw a comment. At least it's John. At least has HDMI out.
Yeah. That's nice. For 2 hour charge for 2.5 hours of use. I'm sorry, that's wrong.
But do batteries have to be FCC certified these days? If you go back up.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Look at it. Read what it says.
Yeah, CE and FCC certified.
No, the Sky Controller 4. No, the Sky Controller 4 and its battery are CE and FCC certified. So
that implies to me the battery is FCC certified. And the controller.
Just not the drone.
Wow. Happy hour. Yeah, you're probably right, Wolf. I think it is happy hour now. Right, this is the thing Bruce has been baying to talk about the whole time. Tell us about the battery, Bruce.
Well, look, there's another part there where it says it's got the battery autonomy for longer flight time or something. You need to search for that, I think. I'll see if I can find it.
Hang on. Here we are. A smart battery system. We're down here, isn't it? Wintering. Black box equipped with an internal memory. That's not a bad idea. Which bit was it?
UN 38.3 certified for transportation. Thank you.
What's the watt hours? I missed that. What was the actual watt hours on the spec?
Less than 100 watt hours.
It's less than 100, is it? Oh my God, a drone manufacturer actually making a battery you can take on a plane? That's a rarity these days.
Yeah, 6.8 milliamps, so 221 watt hours.
Per kilo. So yeah, so
300. So it's about 1/3 of that. So that's about 70 or 80.
Yeah. So that's a good thing, isn't it?
So it's a light post, nearly 7 amp, big battery, not 4S. Interestingly, they've gone 3S again. Do you know what is interesting? And this is something we've not seen before: 96% capacity after 300 charge cycles. You don't often see manufacturers quote that information on their flight batteries either.
Yeah, because anything after 100 charges is normally good going. Or
especially with DJI. Yeah, you're talking about,
at $700 euros per M300 battery. I really would love to see this kind of data.
Yeah, because you wouldn't be buying them, Louis, when it said estimated charge capacity after 100 flights, 60%.
That much? Come on, you're lucky. Oh, God.
Yeah, no. So battery's good, power bank's good, quality ISO 9001.
And notice it does a 10-day discharge again, same as DJI now.
They always have the batteries. They have their own Texas circuitry that decharges the batteries after a few days.
They all use the same chip.
Yeah.
Now, is this not the thing though?
This is where things are getting interesting.
Yes.
If you're doing very professional work. And I really don't know if they don't give the keys to those wannabe Bruce Simpsons that want to intercept the drones. I'm sure there will be a problem to a few.
Well, this is where they've gone over. Nobody else has got this level of designed-in cyber security or cyber security by design. Nobody. Nobody can touch this, so you can't argue against any of this. it's no one's there, and they've set a standard, haven't they? Really,
it's a secure enclave. Hasn't the HS7s got the secure enclave on board as well? So all of the H7 SoCs have a secure enclave in them too.
Not all.
No, I think this is the first company anywhere to give this sort of level.
But it's a secure.
Go up, Gary, please.
Where do you want me to go?
Up. Yeah, no, a bit up, please. There. The before last specification.
Digitally signed pictures.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. It's they can't argue and with that, and DJI struggle to claim or anything against that. They'll rip into it, and they're so confident of it they don't mind showing a naked picture of it here.
But this is the bit I was on about again earlier, Gary. It didn't need this crazy design. It's got a lot of stuff that people want in a drone.
Gary, do you record these conversations?
No one listens either.
Can we go back to this conversation in a year?
Exactly. Yeah, that will be interesting. You're right, Louis. That will be interesting. It's all secure.
I like the clear one. The clear one's nice, isn't it? I
do like a clear one.
Yeah, clear one's actually nice.
Yeah.
Someone make a clear A-frame for it, a clear body.
Well, you can, because you can get hold of the files, can't you? So you can digitally sign pictures. There it is, a little more, little explained. The link for this, dear viewer, if you want it, is, of course, in the show notes, as people say. Data management.
And go up, please. Look at the transparency of what they say, what they collect. They are absolutely straightforward and honest on what the data they get.
Mm.
That is openness that is beyond what marketing guys like to have.
What does it say? What about events? What does it say it does for events then?
There it is: alerts, battery, autopilot, sensors, connectivity, camera streaming, takeoff, landing, hovering, and faces are automatically blurred when transferred. It's quite cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
Drone crash. So they do take drone crash then, so they know if it hits something.
Yeah, which would be good for.
Well, what's anonymous images? What is this scenario? So what do they mean? This is the images it stores.
1 every 2 minutes.
So it's randomly taking a time lapse 1 every 2 minutes.
Yep.
It's doing a depth map, which is, we'd expect that.
Yeah.
Images triggered by events. So they've got an event trigger, obviously. Start and ending precise hovering phase. Yeah, precise landing. So that's necessary for that anyway, because it uses that to know.
And there's also one thing. Don't forget, you can get your code inside the drone, and you can bypass all of this. So,
there we are. There's a sampling rate of the various things.
Photogrammetry, yeah.
Look, that's interesting. GLONASS and Galileo. It's interesting that it's saying GPS GLONASS and Galileo. Telling us what it's using.
No drone company has gone to the openness of Parrot have here. It is outstanding.
No,
the document is outstanding. No one has got near this.
It comes in a lovely box. Looks like one of Ian's makeup cases, I think.
iJustine will be unboxing this in the next 6. It does look like it was designed for iJustine. It really does.
That's what you get. Calibration chart. Recalibrate the stereoscopic cameras. And that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, is it. And that's given us an hour. That 82, we've done an hour 31 talking about that. That is amazing. And well done, Parrot. I think it's a jolly good show. A jolly good show indeed.
No, I really think that's a first on the drone industry to be as open as they are. Kudos for Parrot for doing this. They really stepped up, and like I said before, for me the biggest improvements here are more likely to be on the software side than on the hardware side. I really couldn't care if it looks like a locust or a grasshopper or whatever. I just wanted to do the things I needed to do well. And if I can save on adaptations, extra computers, extra sensors, all that piece of nice things, I'm glad. So, and besides, having the opportunity of having a full-fledged simulator, it's a godsend. People should get the simulator and the SDK and can start developing apps for it anytime.
No, as I've said before, I think it's the most exciting thing I've seen in 5, if not 10 years. I like the risk they're taking with the changing design, but of course I've put no money into that, so I'm taking no risk at all in liking their design. It carries no risk to me. Now, mentioned earlier, so Parrot AI, let's wait until several people get it in their hands and it's all proved, and please release us more data sets of how you got the images and how it already worked. That's where I want to end that one, because Wolf has mentioned the leaks of the Mavic 3. We can't possibly have something without mentioning DJI.
It's not a leak.
It's not a leak. What is it? It's a torrent.
And Ian should know he lives in the land of leaks.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
Not it's a release. Coincidental at all? Of course not.
Coincidental.
Yeah,
another 3D robotics drama.
No, the Mavic 3, they've been working on it for ages. They're constantly working on stuff. It's just when they decide to put it out. We've got a bit of a case image. The problem is this stuff feeds the industry. You sort of look at it and go, oh, okay, there's a middle shell. I don't know if you've seen the pictures. It's just a bit of a middle shell. It's going to, it's inevitable. There'll be a Mavic 4. There'll be a Mavic 5. They'll it's like the next iPhone, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? There's going to be one every 2 years. Will they go
every year?
Well, a new one. I meant, Louis, not a refresh. But it's interesting. It's going to happen. Will there be an Inspire? I think the real question is, will we see an Inspire 3 this year? The Mavic's not the interesting one. The Mavic will just be
another Inspire lover. Oh, I want an Inspire. Come on.
The industry wants one. It's not, and I think it will be this year, but I think it's going to be shocking. I think it's going to be twice the price minimum than the current one, and it won't. They used to sell a lot of Inspire 2s to hobby users. They won't be doing it with this one. This will be.
It will be a derivative of the M300s.
Yeah, it'll be a much bigger and more expensive platform overall.
Well, Wolf's mentioning Phantom Ford's dead, which is right.
It's not. I just bought a couple of them. So no, it's not.
I'm still flying it, and there's nothing in the DJI fleet sub £2,000. There is nothing better camera-wise.
No.
That's the thing. There's nothing.
That's why they won't change it. That's why they won't change it. It's just that. It just keeps rolling off the production line, and
I mean, don't get me wrong. The Mavic 2 Pro is close, and the new Air 2S. But when you're doing mapping and you're doing commercial work when you want that crisp, clear image, the Phantom 4 Pro is so hard to beat.
It's funny. It's hard to get excited about the next Mavic now.
Yeah,
what I mean.
That's exactly the difference between what we saw unbuttoning, but that's exactly the difference to what we've just seen with the Parrot. It's just like, oh, look at all this. Look at all these shiny gold things and other stuff. And there's reason to get excited about this, but not just incremental. It's got the word.
Page 7.
About the gold.
Page 7, I found the bit I was wanting to refer to. And it says on page 7, it says 22.5 kilometer range at 14 meters per second without wind, thanks to the high efficiency of the motor propeller, torque, and the high autonomy of the battery. What the hell's the high autonomy of the battery got to do with it?
The battery gets out. It takes the battery cams out the back of it to reduce weight to allow the aircraft to keep going. It's autonomous.
About the gold and the gold coloring, this is something for us Westerners is not a thing, and
it's to appeal to the Indian market.
No, Chinese market. Come on.
It is. It's like cars. If you notice now, BMW's gone to a big, deep grille. A lot of cars have gone for big grills because Chinese market is.
I'm going to call nonsense on that. The biggest drone manufacturer in the world is Chinese, and they don't have a gold bit on any of their aircraft.
Oh, shut up!
But the ANAFI has a big grill. Did you see the big grill on the ANAFI?
It has a big grill. Yeah, the whole that's part of the whale feeding look. The whale fins, whale this.
Krill. It filters out the krill when it's flying.
If we're going to get a Mavic 3, then, so let's say we're going to get the Mavic 3 Pro.
Yeah.
What are they going to have to do to make it stand out against the Mavic 2 Pro camera-wise? Are they going to have to go for a mechanical shutter on it, do you think?
They just need a proper chipset. Remember, it was highly compromised. It's pixel binning at 4K 30 HQ mode. So although it's 1 inch, at 4K 30 10-bit, it's binning. So there was a lot of complaints over it not being great. Really, it will the SoCs have come on a bit. So I suspect it'll be 4K 60 mark, 1 inch. Because is there anyone doing the Phantom 4 Pro does 1 inch 4K 60, doesn't it? But we've not had 4K 60 in a smaller platform yet. So it'll probably have a 5K or 6K mode at 30, and then like a 4K 60. I wouldn't expect the camera to move on dramatically. It'll have better object avoidance.
Or a 360 object avoidance.
Maybe 360, yeah. They might. That's probably where they'll go with it. It will be better, but it's the iPhone. DJI don't have to do anything crazy now. That's the funny thing. They don't have to make it shiny. They just have to make it available. And the one problem, yet again, we have another drone released on the market. We've got nice, pretty pictures. We've got a lovely document that tells us lots of stuff. Where is it? When is it? And when will you actually be able to buy it? Because it doesn't matter how good that document is. It doesn't matter how good.
Soon at the website near you, under your fingers. So
how much?
Enough to make you have a conscious decision.
If it's more than $2,000, then it won't be selling to the public.
I'll just wait for the Banggood clone.
And this just in, you say they've made it that color for the literally this just in, because I'm reading it on my you can't see that on my phone. Henri has said on June the 30th, Henri has said that he's worried that the Parrot drones are going to be blacklisted in China because of the American. Yes, there we are. Henri, the co-founder, told CNBC that it may happen as he touted the company's new ANAFI AI. The Chinese embassy in London did not immediately respond. So there we are.
And here's a question: is DJI Parrot's big problem here? Because I don't think it is. I think Autel is, because at the moment, all of the money and all of the effort is on Autel right now. Because Autel are swallowing people. They're taking on real proper people here. We're not just talking people for the sake of it. John, the new CEO has taken John on. I know in the background they're talking to some good people, and these are people who have 5 to 10 years of drone industry experience. Some of these have worked for DJI, rightly or wrongly. They know the mistakes they've made.
Ian, can I ask you something?
No.
What's their SDK?
They don't have one yet.
Yeah, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah. You're right. But the problem is, DJI didn't get to the size they were by overall having the best product.
They went with the crazy Phantom, and everybody flew it. But now it's not those days. Now with all the regulations and everything, you need to get smarts on your drone. You need to have your drone do fancy tricks besides follow me and all that. For me, Autel is missing that. They might do the most wonderful drone in the world. How do I interface with it? I can't. Sorry, no good.
And you are right, but it's whether it's interesting whether the short term. I think when we talk about DJI, they'll release a Mavic 3. It'll be decent. It'll work. They'll release it. It'll be available within a month, and you'll be able to go out and buy it. And whatever anyone says about them, they will sell more in a week than Parrot will sell in a year, and they will do what they do. And that's the reality.
That has nothing to do with the quality of the drones. That has to do with what we've already said time and time again. DJI has established itself a nice commercial pipeline from the factory to the consumers. And I'm not so sure, because, for instance, I can tell you that here in Portugal, I've seen some movement between who used to be the distributor of DJI, dropped them completely, and went Autel. So
that's because DJI are selling direct now, aren't they? They're or I'm not getting this right, but there's some
changes in DJI here in Europe that they want to end up with the local distributors and going with a European-wide distributor that will sell directly to the shops. It's their strategy. I'm not sure it will be right, because the current local distributors will get pissed and will dump DJI, and that's the first step to become less available. And not everyone is like us that can go out and do online purchasing like nothing. So people might want to see it, go to a Tesco, go to a good store and get the drone there. And if they start seeing hotel instead of DJI, they'll just go for the orange one.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, well, hotel are definitely pushing.
With all this stylish stuff, why did they make it white? They should have made it another color that stands out. Blue. It could go on a blue list, but they made it white like a Phantom.
Well, might be to do with heat, mightn't it? Who knows? Might be. I don't know. Making that up a little bit, I suppose. Look, what else have we seen this week before we go? We've been here nearly 2 hours. It has been that sort of a week. There's been an awful lot of delivery drone stuff. And very soon, because I don't think what's getting out enough there really is that an awful lot of the trials, especially here in Africa that are happening, are being funded by pharmaceutical companies with their feel-good cash allowance. And there's absolutely no money for after that. Health services don't have the money to run these things once that feel-good money's gone. So I think we're coming to a bit of a critical tipping point in the drone delivery market. It's out there, it works, but who will pay for it in the end?
It's the solution still looking for a problem.
I think we're going to see the sunset on this initial surge and more local.
Mark will
local
know it over here.
will come.
We got here. Health boards over here are all skinned. We hear it on the news all the time, don't we, Mark? Health boards are in debt. There's zero chance of them being able to pay for a cake at a jumble sale, let alone running an entire delivery drone operation. It's
So I think it'll be interesting because I think it'll be like you, Gary. They'll do the trials. Okay, they'll prove it works, and then they're going to go, so how much is this going to cost us then? What's the real benefit? Because if it's only time, well, hang on a minute, and you can't fly every day because of the rain and the wind. And at the minute, as Ian's probably aware, in the UK, the jet stream is sat in the wrong place. It's been sat there all summer. When it sits like this across the UK, we do not get good weather. We suffer. North and south, it makes no difference. Until that jet stream shifts its butt northwards, we're stuffed. So I don't see. I mean, yeah.
No, I think you can see exactly where it went.
That's why all my drones are red eventually.
Exactly. I think we'll see the sunset of this initial surge because it is still busy and there's excitement because the big pharmaceutical companies that are paying for these things. I mean, I know of one trial where where the batteries that were needed for it required more power than the surrounding 3 islands on the large lake, Lake Victoria, make. So you're sending stuff that can't be charged. It can't be charged.
Yeah, when you get a 3,000 milliamp 6S Tatooine battery, you look at it and go, okay, you need 2 of these or 4 of these and you've got to charge them. These poor places haven't got a chance in hell. Even your generators are going to struggle.
Well, that's right. We're talking for because they say, oh no, it's got to be electric because it's got to be green, etc., etc., etc. Except for the bossing great diesel generator that's charging the the batteries. Yeah.
And where's the money going to come from to pay for all these expensive UTMs and network ID systems? We wonder.
Which is why UTMs are a fallacy, because UTMs they're going to be fleet management, in my opinion. They're never going to be full traffic management. So it's going to be interesting. You see, and that's true. So drone delivery in cities is pointless, as we all probably know. You want the ground rover like Milton Keynes, or you've got the guy on the push bike. They win. If you want warehouse to point of collection or point to point, yes, a drone may make sense, and they have got a user case in that area. But a pizza delivery, takeaway, McDonald's, don't see it.
The only hope is for Elon Musk to come up with the idea of drone delivery and patent it himself.
They'll just sit there and say, this is fantastic. We'd love it to save lives. We can't afford it. That's it. End of. There'll be no messing around with this because, if you think of how many crew is there going to need to be on a drone delivery platform, technically today there's still going to be people needed. It's going to cost thousands.
Well, it's going to cost thousands. But if you remember, we had, what was it? Who was on last week doing the talk about Morecambe Bay? He was saying a porter could carry the radioactive material around the hospital with no certification, but as soon as he wants to put it into a drone or into something, he then has to be certified.
Yeah.
The joke is horrendous. The joke is on on everything. At that point there, what's the difference with taking it from point A to point B in the hospital and then going from point A to B to see the drone? He can't do that. That's hilarious in my eyes. That's the thing and the way it
I think
works.
we're going to see, as I say, my feeling is we're going to get a sunsetting of the current hype, and the sun will rise again on a new way of doing it, but it won't be around.
Well,
the way people are currently looking. There'll definitely some sort of emergency deliveries somehow. Emergency deliveries, not vanity deliveries, emergency supplies. But
I think in the UK,
what's he doing down there with his microphone?
I'm moving down. I was reading something on the screen. I was moving my head down to read.
So I think
I was going to go. I was going to read it.
Isn't your time again?
I think Ian's right. In the UK, at the minute they're screaming for cash. The NHS hasn't got any. The government hasn't got any. At some point, we're going to have to suddenly go, hang on a minute, spending is going to have to be cut to a degree because we've paid out on COVID. We've spent billions or trillions. There's going to be cuts everywhere at some point. So they'll keep spending for a bit more because they can with COVID, and then they're just going to have to go, that's it. And at that point now, all these trials and all this fancy stuff is going to go, ba-dumph.
Anyway,
how's it going to go?
Ba-dumph, apparently.
Ba-dumph.
But I'll tell you, we were watching Wales over the weekend, and I don't mean where Ian is. And when they we were a few hundred yards out to sea, but when they hit the deck, they make a heck of a ba-dumph. I hope that Parrot thing doesn't do that with all its whale references. But yeah, they make a heck of a ba-dumph. But that's another story.
We'll do it very quietly.
Yes, indeed.
How long before we see Captain Kirk come back to save the lost Parrot drones and bring them into the future where they can
still waiting for the transparent aluminum?
Well, it's going to be, the new ANAFI looks really smart. I love the fact it's open source. We're hopefully going to see some great apps coming out for this machine. If it flies as well as they say it does and works as well as they say it does, it could, and it's priced correctly. This is going to be the problem. Will it be priced correctly? And of course, people love DJI. It's like Apple, isn't it? So
I think it's going to be more like $3,000 minimum.
If it's $3,000, it's too expensive. That's the problem.
What's that in dollar terms?
We are going to end up the show, and Ian is going to say $8,000. So he's been increasing the.
I reckon 900 grams. It's got to come in at $1,500 or less.
It needs to, but whether it will or not is another question.
So I'm going to. My sweepstake is $1,500 or less. There you go.
£1,500 equals US dollars.
$2,600. That's where that might be
2795. 2795. Let's pick a winner.
1999. Yeah, 1999.99.
Higher, lower.
I don't know. I think if it does what it says on the tin, they'll sell a lot of them to professional users. Then it's going to be how many professional users are out there.
If you have to know, let's use the same mantra that Rolls-Royce used to say. If you need to ask the price, you don't buy it.
I said
that. Didn't they go bust and have to be sold to Volkswagen?
What?
Yeah, but
didn't they go bust and have to be sold to Volkswagen, Rolls-Royce?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's basically
it doesn't sound like a sound philosophy.
Oh, by the way, have you guys seen that, for instance, the Skyview Duo went up in price?
I'm glad you mentioned it because FX Node is saying How much is it now?
SkyDuo with 2 batteries. So the basic system and the remote and 2 batteries goes to almost $2,000.
Then you add $5,000 for the software.
Yeah, just under $2,000 for a proper pack.
That's per year. So you get at least $2,000 for a decent for us system.
Yeah,
that's a lot of money.
It was $999 for the aircraft, and it's now $1,350. I think it is.
Yeah.
And it's another $300 for the remote, $150. If you go for the pack, it's nearly $2,000 in it. So
yeah.
But then again, let's be realistic. Are we expecting a Mavic 3 to be under $2,000 now? I think we're going to see an increase across the board, and that's natural. You've seen it. We've seen all tech go up. So it's a time for manufacturers to leverage the ability to increase prices that's in the market. And we're seeing it in computers. You got computer manufacturers, you got NVIDIA canceling one of their best value cards and replacing it with a card that you can now get officially scalped. So rather than pay the scalpers more money, you can go to NVIDIA and pay them to pay more money, because we all want to pay more. So why don't you pay it officially, allegedly?
I've heard from a colleague of mine, if there's money on the table, I'll take it.
Yeah.
So if people are willing to buy it at that price,
you had a 3080 Ti, which was good value, and I know Bruce won't necessarily agree with that, but for performance at $700, $649, it was decent value. But they've now cancelled that and said we're going to give you the Ti version for I think it's $1,000 or $1,200, $1,150. It's great.
Well, that's NVIDIA. Don't be scalped. Avoid the middleman. We'll do it direct.
Yeah. Get scalped. Why pay more to some other distributor? Pay more officially.
You'll probably get merchandising with this.
I don't think we can use the term scalping anymore. I think it's kind of in the new wokes. You probably get dismissed for that, won't you?
It's entrepreneurship now. Sorry.
Yeah. Look, we're definitely going into full waffle mode. I can feel it happening. So I'm going to wrap this one up. Dear viewers, thank you very much for putting up with us for so long, talking about that SkyDuo AI. I think it's a great looking platform. Proof to be in the pudding.
Do you say SkyDuo AI? Whoa, yeah. What's
SkyDuo AI? What am I saying? Oh, no, I'm not even drunk. Oh, Parrot AI. I'm not even drunk because we can't have alcohol here.
Was this a little eye or a big eye? Remember, it's a little eye.
Big eye, yes.
There's a difference.
Yes.
Is it the eye or the difference? It's the tie.
So Gary, what were we talking about today?
Oh, I don't know.
Can you just go to the end of the document again?
Can you just go back in the document, Gary? We start on page 1.
Yeah. Oh, we've had our first runaway fires here this year. You'll be pleased to know they're Mark. They've already run past here. But anyway, that's another thing also. Dear viewers, thank you very much wherever you are in the world. We'll see you again, 2100 GMT next week, when no doubt it will all be about the new DJI something or other. Thanks very much. Look after yourselves wherever you're in the world. See you next week. Bye-bye. One button.